there are concerns over the China-led naval exercises. These are dubbed Will for Peace 2026, and they're scheduled to take place from this Friday on South African waters. It will include the participation of some BRICS Plus nations, such as Iran. You include in there Russia as well. Now, the geopolitical developments on the other side, the Democratic Alliance criticizing the exercise, saying hosting such exercises raises questions on the country's non-aligned stance. To discuss this and what possible fallout might there be, we're joined by Ricardo Teixeira. He is a defense analyst at the Institute of Race Relations and also an associate editor of the Daily Friend. All right, Ricardo, good evening to you. Thank you for your time. Let's start with the theme of these exercises, and it is titled Joint Actions to Ensure the Safety of Shipping and Maritime Economic Activities. Is that all there is to it, or is there another side that we may not be aware of as ordinary citizens?
When we look at the theme, it's very much, it's quite ironic, because if we look at the countries that are involved, Russia is threatening trade within the Black Sea. Just over New Year's, that one of their ships was seized by Finland for damaging undersea cables, and China kicked off the new year with a bunch of exercises rehearsing how they would invade Taiwan, while Iran has been funding proxies that have threatened maritime shipping around the Red Sea and the Gulf around Yemen. So to say that really it's a passage exercise is, in my opinion, quite ironic. And also to call it Will for Peace is a bit on the nose, but it's quite an alarming development in my opinion. It definitely has a lot more political ramifications, and if we look at the type of exercise, it being just a passage exercise, it's more of a naval parade and a bit of theater and political messaging, which is what makes it so concerning. If we look at the countries that are involved, South Africa is the only democracy here. There are other democracies within BRICS, but India is not here, Brazil's not here. They are not partaking in this exercise. India does not exercise with China. And furthermore, BRICS doesn't really have the framework to be organizing such an exercise. So to call it a BRICS exercise makes about as much sense as saying that we are having a G20 exercise. There's no framework for it whatsoever. It's more of a forum than anything. So again, if we look at the countries involved, South Africa is the only democracy here. And I like to say, if you show me who your friends are, you show me who you really are. And for the government to say that there's no political messaging here is besides the point. If they don't recognize that there is a very inherent political message here, we're in for some serious trouble.
And let's deal with that latter statement that you've just made, that we possibly are stirring up trouble here. The Democratic Alliance, already as we've spoken, they have been commenting on this, and it's important to point out that South Africa has been saying that it has adopted the non-aligned stance when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And we're mentioning Russia because they are part of these exercises that are going to take place on Friday. The DA seeming to say that, yes, there is this posture by South Africa that they're non-aligned, but whether the government likes it or not, it does seem that we are picking who our friends are. What could be the possible consequences?
Yes, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I agree with the DA. We very much are showing some sort of allegiance here. We can say we're non-aligned as much as we want, but when we are only exercising with Russia and China and Iran, and we snub the Americans and have an exercise cancelled last minute and don't answer the calls when other countries try to exercise with us or express intention to exercise with us, like France, who has ships and troops based out of Reunion and Mayotte that have always had an open offer for naval exercises and training with us. We ignore those, but then we jump at any opportunity to train with Russia and China. So,
sorry,
we can
Ricardo,
say we're non-aligned.
Apologies for jumping in there. Do we know that for a fact that when France asks us to conduct similar exercises, we either ignore them or we totally shun them?
To some extent, yes. Last year, the French rotated their new OPV, which is an offshore patrol vessel that's forward deployed out of Reunion, and it sailed around our coast, and they expressed the intention of wanting to organize an exercise with us, and didn't happen. We had a French frigate and a French OPV sailing around, and then the frigate went back. It stopped in port, and our ships did escort it. The Amatola and two of our IPVs did escort it, but there was no exercise. And the French have tried very, very hard to try to exercise with us. We have a very extensive defense cooperation agreement with the French that extends as far as intelligence sharing as well. And we've got IPSAMAR with India and Brazil, and that is coming up as well. But that is next month, and we're not seeing any sort of indication of South Africa's contribution towards that exercise. But we've also got good hope with the Germans, and there seems to be no news on that going forward. But we jump at any occasion to exercise with Russia and China. So yes, we can say we're non-aligned as much as we want, but actions speak louder than words, and our actions are showing that we clearly do have a side that we are aligned with.
Yeah. Politics aside, what is of benefit to South Africa here, particularly as host?
If I have to be honest, not much. This sort of exercise we could be doing, it would be a lot more useful if we were doing this sort of exercise with the Kenyan and Nigerian navies that are navies we actually share maritime boundaries with and interact with in the region. Ghana as well, Brazil and India. These sorts of exercises, we're not going to learn much from the Russians. And I don't know what we can learn from a navy that has lost a battle at sea with a country that doesn't even have a navy. And China, who is actively working towards building up their forces so that they can invade Taiwan, but haven't been involved in a conflict since 1979. And it seems the only thing that the Chinese ships are good at is ramming into each other. What are we going to learn here? We have no shared doctrine, we have no shared language, no shared equipment, no framework under which this exercise can reliably be organized and planned. So what exactly are we trying to learn here?
Ricardo Teixeira, thank you very much for your time and analysis tonight. A defense analyst at the Institute of Race Relations is also an associate editor of the Daily Friend.